We've recorded 5.5 videos today, and I say half because I already recorded half of this when I realized I messed up, basically. So, we're just gonna start over. If I seem a little annoyed, it's because I am a lot annoyed. And I'm trying my hardest, I really am, so sorry, but also at the same time, not at all. This month is gonna be a little bit short because I didn't really watch that many things, but I watched some movies, and I also realized I didn't really go through my movie review in February. It was only 2 movies, so we'll tackle the movies at the end. Don't let me forget about the movies. All right, let's spend like only 2 minutes here and then ski-daddle on out of here because this page is what fricked me up the first time. So we started out the month with The Mandalorian on the 1st of March. So you can find my reactions and my opinions to those now. That's all I'm gonna say about that, so you're gonna have to watch those reactions because we are moving on. We're actually gonna go to the caught up, kept up, and finished shows for a little bit, and then we're gonna transition back to the newly me era and go with the month. In March, I started 2 caught up, kept up, and finished shows. The first being The Company You Keep. If you like Now You See Me, you're gonna like this show. The Company You Keep is a thief show. It's a heist show. They do heisting in every episode. This show stars Milo Ventimiglia, whom you might recognize, I recognized him from NBC's Heroes. He's been in quite a few things. Not really much stuff that I've seen, so you guys may recognize him better or more so than I could. He plays Charlie, the son of a family of thieves who they're only thieving because they got themselves in a terrible money situation. They're trying to get themselves out because they don't want to continue to do this, but they're so insanely good. And because of this, Charlie can't really start any relationships, but he does so anyway. But what they both don't realize is that this person that he started a relationship with, Emma, is a CIA agent. So if you're old like me and you've played the old PlayStation games Sly Cooper, then you're basically watching the show version. This show is a modern human version of that. Charlie is Sly and Emma is Carmelita. And maybe it's just me living out my Sly Cooper dreams because Sly Cooper is my and will forever be my favorite video games of all time. And just envisioning these 2 characters as Sly and Carmelita just because of how insanely similar the stories are, it's inevitable for me, and that makes it enjoyable. If you like heist movies, heist shows, you're gonna like this one. It's gonna be good. Then it's History of the World. Let me just read you what I wrote about this. This show, created by Mel Brooks, started out amazingly, but then kind of dropped the ball halfway through the season. It tried to be a little bit more than it could handle, and in the end, it almost satired itself. And honestly, it kinda outstayed its welcome. It's a very fun ride, but once I got busy in my day, it got increasingly hard to binge the show. I started the show on the first day, so there was 2 episodes already out, and I saw those 2 episodes, and I was like, oh man, these are so funny, I want more! And I was able to keep up with it for like 1 more day, because the release schedule were 2 episodes a night. So that was 4 episodes in 2 nights. That's a lot of content, a lot of satired history in one go. But after I got busy, I couldn't really binge the show anymore. This show, because of its segments format, does not allow for a bingeable format. I had to split the show, the last 4 episodes, into 3 days, not 2, 3 days, because it was just so much for me to handle, and I was just so busy, and I just couldn't really just sit down to just enjoy it. I don't know, it just felt like it got unentertaining. It felt like a lot of the same parody, and it's like, I get it, you're making fun of such and such, and I get it, you're making fun of this and that, but I kind of wanted a little bit more than just the parody of just one thing over and over and over. Again, first half of the season was great. The last half was just not. Some segments were hilarious, like the cave women discovering fire because of a certain leaf that I can't say, otherwise I will be demonetized. That was really funny. You will recognize a lot of comedic actors in this show. This show had a ton of potential, but honestly, it just failed in the end to appeal to a wider general audience. The show is funny, but it dips in the latter half, and it gets to be old hat real fast, landing it in a 6.5 out of 10. All right, so now we are moving into what I call March Sadness 23. A lot of things were happening personally in my life that didn't really allow me to binge much, and I would actually go back and rewatch things like How I Met Your Mother, and that's why it's taken me a while to watch How I Met Your Mother, because How I Met Your Mother has been my therapy. It's actually been the thing to keep me going every single day. It's been great. But the same with Wilfred. During this very sad period of my life, I realized the 2 shows I will always go back to always make me feel good: How I Met Your Mother Wilfred. But before we talk about Wilfred, let's talk about the Magicians. Because as you can see, I finally finished the Magicians on the 7th of March. That's right. I can finally say that it's a 10 out of 10. It is so good, guys, dudes, yo, it is so good. It is dark, so it may not be for you if you don't like dark, gruesome, violent things, but the Magician magic is based on real world physics and science, sometimes. But things just don't happen just because. They're like, well, we can't do that because, you know, physics. They're like, we could do this because it's basically an amplified version of science. It's so insanely cool. I love the Magicians. It was a book series before, and they turned it into a show on Sci-Fi Network. And honestly, one of these days, I'm gonna become famous. I'm gonna buy the Sci-Fi Network or just buy the licensing to this, and I'm gonna make a 6th season to close out the show. A lot of people are like, oh no, but it ended so well. I want to say like I hated it, but I didn't. I really didn't. I just want more Magicians. It's that good. It's that good of a show. I'm satisfied. I'm content. I accept the final ending. I just want more. But it is a good ending. It is a good ending. It ended well. I accept it, and I'm satisfied. Hence why it's getting a 10 out of a 10. So then there is Wilfred, the rewatch. Honestly, I started Wilfred and I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then that was fine, and then I continued on with my life. But now I decided I'm gonna go ahead and rewatch it in April, but you know, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. But I am still currently working my way through Wilfred, and I'm laughing my butt off. It is such a great show. I love it so insanely much. I showed it to a friend of mine, and I actually showed it to 2 friends of mine, and one of them didn't like it, but the other one absolutely did. This is another show where if you like psychology, this is the show for you. A lot of people didn't really like how the show ended. Now that I know the ending of the show and I'm rewatching it, knowing what I know, it is a vastly different type of show. Such a masterclass in psychology. That's all I'm gonna say about Wilfred. I'm only just rewatching it. So then we move on to Shadow and Bone. My friend and I were using the app Teleparty to watch Shadow and Bone together. We had finished the Magicians and decided we want to watch some more magic, and decided Shadow and Bone would be it. We both got super busy, so we're like, we're just gonna watch it so that we can see season 2 and then discuss it. And honestly, season 1 was pretty good. I don't know what it is about this show that it's just, it doesn't fully like capture me, but it is pretty good. I actually like season 2 a lot better, and I'm still in like episode 3 of season 2, but so far season 2 way better than season 1. I'm able to follow it very well, actually. I just absolutely hate that the episodes are 1-hour episodes. They're so insanely long, and I just want to get through to the end, man. And that's why it's taking me a while to finish the show, just because they're just such long episodes. Then we have Amphibia. I wrote something in Amphibia. Let me transfer it over. Amphibia, a prime example of how it's always about your ending. No matter how good or how bad your middle is, everyone is going to remember a good ending or a terrible one. Amphibia's finale was phenomenal. Amongst the 3 finales so far, that being Gravity Falls, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Amphibia, this beats out the rest in terms of stakes and cause and effect. Amphibia's finale made me cry, like actually like tears. Like I was in my bed. I was over there in my bed. Tears cascading down my face. Gravity Falls finale did make me tear up just a little bit, but I don't think there would be a good, heartfelt, heart-tugging, just amazing finale like Amphibia's. And their story is just set and done. The way they ended it, that is it. That's it. And that's what we got, and I think it's just amazing. Gravity Falls is definitely my favorite so far, and I loved Star vs. the Forces of Evil, though its finale made me go, what the heck? Until I see season 3 of The Owl House, I'm not sure if I can rank these properly. But Amphibia most likely will take the 2nd spot. The more I think about Amphibia, the more I end up talking about Amphibia to other people, and just how insanely good this show is. I barely recognized Brenda's song as Anne Boonchoi until like episode 11 when I looked up, who is this girl? She's doing such a good job. And then I also realized that Anna Akana, YouTuber Anna Akana, is also in this show as part of the cast, and she also did phenomenal. Everyone in this show does such a compelling job, and again, the finale, the final scenes had me in tears, and I love this show so much. So, it gets a 9 out of 10. I started it on March 10th and finished it on March 15th. Oh man, Wednesday. What can I say about Wednesday, honestly? Here's what I can say about Wednesday. What I wrote was, perfect, actual perfect show, and I mean it. This is a 10 out of 10. They knocked it out of the park. I found no wrong with this show at all. Honestly, it felt like a classic film done as a show, and honestly, now I really do try to think about things that I would have done differently, things I would have done better, and I can't think of anything. It took the world by storm. It deserves its season 2, and I'm so happy for Jenna Ortega. She is Wednesday. She's a massively talented force of nature, and I hope she gets way more work after this. She deserves the work. She deserves the fame and the recognition. That's how talented Jenna Ortega is. And the fact that she took control of Wednesday and said, nah fam, Wednesday don't talk like that, she basically saved the show. So kudos to her. Kudos to her. She's gonna be a great producer, potentially even a great screenwriter. Who knows? That is really rare. If you can act, screenwrite, and produce, and great, and it looks like she can. So I can't wait to see what's in store for her career. It's gonna be a good one for sure. But Wednesday, 10 out of 10, can't wait for season 2. The mystery though, totally called it. I figured it out so fast, like insanely fast. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, and they usually don't figure it out until like the latter half of the season, and I figured it out like within like 2 or 3 episodes. But I knew that it was gonna be potentially wrong, but I wasn't, and I liked that. It honestly caused me to wish I had reacted to this so I could have validation while watching, be like, no, this is gonna happen, and then being right about it. But I had a really good time just watching this show for myself. And that's what y'all need to do. Go watch it. It's good. Next up is Up Here on Hulu. This is a musical comedy show. If you like Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, I haven't seen it, but I assume it's around the same thing, you would like this one. If you like musicals, you will like this show. This show is definitely not for kids. It is TVMA, but I thought it was pretty funny. It kind of dances on the line of British humor, kind of, but it's not a British show at all. When I first started this show, I was like, that girl is familiar. Anne? It's Anne from Arrested Development. She stars in the show as Lindsay, and she hears voices manifested as people who have traumatized her in her life, who constantly tell her these negative and false and lies about herself. I think everyone can relate to this because everyone has these voices in their heads constantly telling them and demeaning them and not allowing them to progress in life, and this show really tackles that. So again, this is another one of those psychology shows. If you like psychology, you're gonna like this show. At least I hope you would. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but for the general audience, I'm only giving it an 8.5 out of 10, although I think I would probably give it like an 8.7, close to a 9. It might be like an A- for me, and I really do hope it gets a second season. So please go watch it. If you like musicals, that's the one for you. Then I decided to watch Married. I started that on the 27th and the 28th. Oh, and keep in mind that throughout all of these, I'm interchanging between Wilfred and How I Met Your Mother. So there are days where I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just watching How I Met Your Mother. I'm watching Wilfred. I'm binging these while also watching these at the same time. This show stars Judy Greer and Nat Faxon, two people who are typically funny, but this show is very much not. I kind of sat down to try to see if I can write something about it. The only thing I could muster myself to say is, didn't care to complete, not funny, just sad. This show, I do thank this show because this show is the one show that made me realize, no, Ivan, you don't have to finish things. You really can say you didn't like something and be done with it. Because oftentimes when I watch something just to finish it, to binge it, it really just takes a lot out of my soul, and I end up not watching some things for days, which is completely healthy. But when you're like, a tuber doing the things because you watch the things, it can get a lot. So this show could not do it. Let's go to the good attempt, no dice bit for a second here. Yeah, I watched about 13 episodes. This has 2 seasons. I watched first season, and then I really couldn't do the second season. I was bored. There were certain times where I was like, okay, cool, we're picking up here, and then just would revert back, way back to the thing that made me not want to watch it. This show is just flat out sad. It makes you watch a failed relationship where you don't even know if they want to be in the relationship or not, and you think that they do, but then they act like they don't, and then they say they don't, but then they say they do. It's too much. It's way too much, honestly, and they really do try to parody like the strenuity of marriage and how much it has on the men and the female, and I just don't like that. I like loyalty in marriage, and though they do have the loyalty there, it's just the way they treat each other, I don't like it. I don't. This show is just so insanely sad. I see why it was canceled. I probably would have canceled it in season 1, but I didn't care to finish it. It's just bad. And lastly, we have Unstable. Unstable is such a funny show. Actually, hold on, let me bump that up for a little bit. That's a 9.5 out of 10 right there. I binged Unstable all in one day because I decided I needed to end March Sadness on a good note. Let me read to you what I wrote. Episodes 1 through 3 really struggle, but by episode 4, it finds its footing and keeps finding it. Rob Lowe, though always somewhat creepy sometimes, is joined by his son and have the most natural chemistry ever. I mean, naturally, they're real father and son, but this show is quirky, it's quippy, and it's deserving of a second season. I got 2 friends to watch the show. Actually, false, at this point, I've actually gotten 4 friends to watch the show, and I've talked to so many more people, so I need to see if they've actually been able to jump on this show, but so far I've gotten 4 people to join in and watch the show, and they all love it. This is definitely the direction in which sitcoms are headed towards nowadays, with this weirdly almost dark but not, and very nuanced but somehow freshly new take on the deadpan and dry humor. All in all, I give the show a 9.5 out of 10. It's a must watch. It's a you have to watch. Every single member of the supporting cast are basically people that you will watch and you will simply wonder this one question. Where on earth have these actors been, because they would have easily saved other sitcoms if they had just been in them. They do so well. Everyone is so funny. The women in the show, top-notch comedy. Everyone does great. It was such a surprising ride, honestly, and I can't wait for season 2. I think it's gonna get a season 2. Not quite sure yet, but John Owen Lowe, more like John Owen Whoa. And lastly, let's do a quick review on the movies. In February, I saw Ant-Man Quantumania and Prom. Let me say the same things about these 2 movies. They're both boring as heck. I like musicals, but I, once again, did not appreciate James Corden's portrayal of the LGBT community. I think it was slightly offensive. I don't understand why they couldn't have an actual member of the LGBT community be that character. I don't know why it had to be a straight guy. That's just me, but that's okay. It only gets a 6 out of 10. I think it's an important message for sure, but I think it's out of time. It just seems a little preachy for today's day and age, honestly. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, I was so bored, dudes. That's such a terrible movie. Such a bad movie. And honestly, this rating is incorrect because it's actually a 5 out of 10. I cannot give it any justice. The writing doesn't exist. Jeff Loveness needs to be fired from Kang Dynasty. The special effects were just awful, and all of the new characters and villains, such a waste. And Kang, and I know a lot of people are just like, Kang was so cool, but what a silly threat. What a silly threat. No. If Kang can be defeated by Ant-Man, there's no way. There's no way that he can be the villain anymore. It's just, he lost all dignity. No. Just no. Then I saw The Menu. The Menu was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. A lot of people were just like, oh my gosh, that's great. I didn't think it was that great, but I thought it was good. I thought it was a nice mystery thriller kind of, and just enjoying the ride as it goes. I would say it's on the top of the middle shelf movies. Jurassic World Dominion, I kind of agree with everyone here. It's clearly the weakest of the newest trilogy. However, the scenes were all 6 together, and it was just like this really nice, diverse, and just really well-crafted ensemble. That was really cool. This movie is enjoyable, and I did watch it with my family because we had seen those Jurassic World movies from the beginning. We even saw the Jurassic Park movies to get us ready for Jurassic World. So it was a great time. It was great that they were able to visit and we were able to finally watch it on Amazon Prime. But my gosh, it was just okay. And then there's Burlesque and Hello Dolly. And I will admit that I enjoyed these to the max, but I watched them really late at night. And I fell asleep during the last 30 minutes of each, actually. So I still gotta go back and rewatch them. But from what I've seen, I really enjoyed these. I really enjoyed these quite a bit. So that was it. What did you guys think of my March month in review? If you have seen any of these shows and any of these movies, please let me know what you thought and your rating in the description below. My social media links are in the description below, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.